Hey everyone, welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to be talking about my costume with textiles course and answering the question for you all, what is it like to study costume with textiles at the University of Huddersfield? So I'm just going to be going over like the pros and cons of what I think about my course, and my qualifications for being able to do this video is that I've just finished my second year of studying costume with textiles. So I feel like I've gained enough knowledge about the course and about what it offers and everything. So I thought this would be like really insightful for anyone looking to do this course at Huddersfield or looking to study costume in general. Because I think there's a lot of pros, but there's also a lot of cons and a lot of things to consider. But I just thought I would break it down into one video and try and help you all out, and I'll show you some of my projects and direct you to places, and yeah, just show you what it's like to study costume with textiles at the University of Huddersfield. So let's get started. So before we get started on the pros and cons, I just want to run over the modules that we have done at uni. So they're kind of similar with first and second year, so I'm just going to give you a general overview. So to start off, you have Introduction to Costume Construction, which then turns into Advanced Costume Construction in second year, and that's where in first year you make your own 19th century bodice, which is really fun, and you also make a lot of samples that will help you a lot with the bodice and also with the costume in second year. And then in second year, we made a corset, which was really fun. We got to like fit to a model for the first time. And then we also made some trousers. Also got to make our final costume. And then we have the design module, which in year one, we designed for Coraline, but it's always different every year. And that was really fun because we've got to do life drawing as well, which I feel really helped with my drawing. And then in second year, we designed for the Tempest, but again, it's different every year, and we got to put our own twist on it. So for me, my twist was the elements, and if you know the story of the Tempest, this worked quite well. So my costume that I made was for Prospero, and he represented fire, so that worked really well for me, and I could get loads of textiles in there. And then we also have a textiles module, which is quite similar for both years, but in our second year, we focus on making it textiles for the body. So we make samples, really focusing on the textiles and how they would work on the body. And I feel like I really just thrived in this. I really felt like I saw growth in myself. And you get like to use all the embroidery machines, or if you're in print, all the different print techniques that you can use. And there's a lot of like high-tech equipment that are really worth using. And I felt like I really enjoyed this module, and I got a lot out of it, which I was able to then use in my costume. And then we have sustainability, which we've had for both years. And this was really quite insightful because it's not really anything to do with the other modules. It's kind of by itself, like teaches you a lot about like perspective and how you can like change your behaviours in terms of when you're doing construction and when you're thinking about a costume, because unfortunately there's a lot of environmental issues with costume, which I did about in my essay. So for this module you do an essay, and then you also do a video essay, which you can see is the first YouTube video I posted on this account. And I really enjoyed that. I felt like it was quite different to my other modules, so I quite liked it, and it was a nice like break from that, and it really got me thinking about how I can be more sustainable as a costume designer. And then we also have a module in year 2 called Brand Me, and this was really fun because it got us to like think about how we want to build a brand for ourselves. And it was also a module really focusing on placement year, which really got me thinking about placement and really made me excited to want to do it, because we made our own website, which was really fun, and we like designed logos and thought about branding and CVs and stuff, and I thought that was really helpful for me, especially for like applying for placements and searching for placements and all things like that. It was really insightful. So yeah, that was just a brief overview of all the modules. So let's get stuck into the pros and cons. So I'm going to start off with the pros of what I think is good, because there's obviously a lot of good about studying my course, otherwise I wouldn't be doing it, I wouldn't have chosen it. So one of the big pros is that I study costume with textiles, and we are the only course in Europe that offers it with textiles. So I think it's really good for me, because I feel like I wasn't really that good at textiles coming into it. So because we've had like a whole module focused on it, it's been like quite helpful to me, because obviously we've been able to implement that into our costumes as well, and I just feel like all our costumes have just benefited massively from having that as a whole other module. Yeah, I've really loved that. So another big plus about our course is that there's an opportunity for a placement year, which I'm pretty sure is an opportunity for most degrees at the University of Huddersfield. So now I finished my second year, we've all had the chance chance to do a placement year as our third year of study, which is what I've chosen. And I think it's really important to do a placement year because especially with like creative industries and costume in general, it can be quite difficult to find graduate jobs and to find opportunities post-graduation when you haven't had loads of experience within the industry. So I think it's been really helpful to me to figure out what I like, figure out what I want to go into, and also gain experience and help you gain connections of people which will potentially find you a graduate job. And it's also really important for me because I'm doing a placement year called Portfolio Sandwich Year, which basically means that we can just do lots of little placements. There's no like real time limit on how long they have to be or how short they have to be. We can do as many or as little as we like. Some people are doing where they're like growing a business, they're doing some placements, and then in between they're like building a business, which is really cool because then you can then do your business after graduation. You can get something like that up and running before you've graduated. And I just feel like going into third year, I'm going to feel so much more prepared and my work's going to be that much better than I feel like if I had not have done placement year. It's all down to what you want, but that's another major plus about this course. So another big positive is that you get to kind of choose your specialisms. So in first year we did print and embroidery, and then we also did a bit of knit as well, and then going into second year you could pick either print or embroidery. And for me, I just didn't really like print. I didn't really like the messiness of it. I just felt like I didn't know what to do. There was just like there's so many like possibilities with print, and it wasn't for me. So it was really nice that I could then pick embroidery to specialise in, which I feel like I've really thrived in. So it's really nice that you can get the chance to do what you want and specialise in what you want to, because that really is reflected in what you produce in your costume at the end of the year, which is really nice. Also wanted to talk about the place of Huddersfield for another pro. I've just really enjoyed living in Huddersfield for these past 2 years. I just feel like I've really thrived, and it really has just felt like a home away from home. So Huddersfield's quite small in itself. It's got quite a lot of big supermarkets, which is a massive plus for shopping because quite a lot of like towns and cities that have unis only have like local like express shops, but we have like quite a few big supermarkets, which is really good. There's also quite a lot of shops as well in the town centre if anyone likes shopping. And for me as well, I love charity shopping, and there's absolutely loads of charity shops. There's maybe probably like 7 or 8 charity shops just in the town centre, and they're all really good. So I love doing that. Because there's a train station not too far away from campus, you have good connection links with places like Leeds and Sheffield. So it's really nice if you want to go and visit those places. I also wanted to talk about the tutors and technicians because I feel like I've really looked out with everyone who's supported us at uni. Obviously I'm biased, but everyone's just so supportive at uni, and I feel like if I have any issues I can go to them. My tutor's amazing, all the technicians are amazing. Like it's just, I couldn't really ask for better support in terms of tutors and stuff like that. So another big plus is that you get to make a costume in second year at the end of your second year. So this was like super fun. We all kind of knew that this was coming at the end of second year because us in first year we made a 19th century bodice, which was fun, but it obviously wasn't a costume, it wasn't a full costume. So it was nice to see like all the final years and second years doing their costumes when we were in our first year, and I was thinking, right, that'll be us next year. And we just had so much fun making them. It was so nice to see like what everyone was able to create, because obviously we'd not seen that before. So yeah, it was just really nice. And then at the end of the year, so a few weeks ago in June, we had our degree show, and it was really lovely because me and my friend Izzy had the opportunity to model for a final year as well, and then our costumes were also in it. And it was just so nice to see everyone's work brought together and just to celebrate all our hard work, and it was just lovely. So that is also a massive plus and something that we all look forward to at the end of the year. So now I'm going to talk about some of the cons, because there are a few and they do definitely need to be considered when you're thinking about uni options and you're thinking about what course you might want to study. So the first one's definitely the expenses that come with this degree. Because we make our own costumes and we make samples all the time, we are required to buy our own fabric, which can get quite expensive. Like if you're wanting a certain thing, or for example I used a lot of wool in my last costume, it can get very expensive, like especially if we're making like more than one. So it's definitely something to consider going into this course, because it can get quite expensive, because even like with the beads that you might want to use, or like thread, it can just add up. And even with like your general sewing kit at the start of uni, like that can be a massive expense that you might not be expecting. because most people also want a sewing machine at home or at their flat or student accommodation. So obviously that's a massive expense if you don't already have one, because I found it was really quite useful to have my own sewing machine as well. But it's also just something to consider with the financial side of studying this course. Another con, which can be considered a pro as well, is that our course is purely all coursework based. So it can seem like a good thing, but it's also can be negative, because like there's a lot of work involved, and you may see like your friends on other courses revising for exams and stuff, and then their exams are over, whereas our coursework is like very much ongoing until the end of the year. So it can get quite stressful when you have like all your modules and you have a lot of things going on for each one, and especially when you have your costume at the end of the year. We had like textiles running alongside it, so we're making textile samples and also trying to construct our costumes, and so it can get quite hectic. So it definitely is something to consider if you like exams, or you like revising for exams and having them being over, or you very much like having to do coursework. It's definitely something to consider. There's also the consideration of if you want to do a placement. I'm choosing to do placement because I think it's the right thing for me and my career path and what I want to do in the future. But if you don't, it can be quite difficult to get jobs post-graduation. So it's another thing to consider if you want to do placement year. And then there's another con with placement year, as it's going to make you graduate a year later. It might cost you more money, as you don't get as much student finance during your placement year. And also like the commuting, whether the placement pays or not, which is a huge factor, because quite a lot of the placements for costume or fashion, they don't pay. So it's also quite a big factor, because especially if you're going to be living in student accommodation or living at home or wherever, you're still going to be commuting or driving or whatever to get to your placement. So that's definitely something else that is a financial factor. That kind of brings me to the end of the pros and cons. I feel like I've kind of covered most things there, but if you have any questions, please write them in the comments and I'll try my best to answer them. And I also just wanted to mention that we do have an Instagram account for our costume course, and it's called @HudCostume. And I'll put it in the caption, and it's definitely worth following us if you like the sound of this course, or you want to come to an open day or anything. Because we post all the time about our show, about final year tutorials, about final pictures of our costumes, all things like that. So if you want to know really what it's like as a student at Huddersfield, make sure to give us a follow. So that was just my overview of my Costume with Textiles course, and I hope you all found that really useful and helpful if you're thinking about applying for Costume with Textiles at the University of Huddersfield. I tried to give my unbiased opinion and tell you the honest truth of what I think about my course. As always, if you have any questions, please write them in the comments, or DM us on Hud Costume if you have any specific questions. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.